I want to start off today's video by first off just thanking you guys so much. We did hit 1,000 subscribers here on the channel. So everybody who's joined us, seriously, thank you guys so much. It goes a long way here at Chat Sports. And hey, if you guys want daily Chicago Bulls videos, make sure you guys lock us in. We're going to keep you guys posted with Bulls news, rumors, whatever it is. It's going to be a busy offseason for the Chicago Bulls. Question marks around Levine, DeRozan, Vooch. Who are they going to bring back? What are they going to do? We're going to be your one-stop shop for all of that and more. It's a free way to help us out there. Just go down there and click that subscribe button. Completely free. Plus, it'll make me look good for my bosses as well. But on today's show, we're going to be talking about DeMar DeRozan because an NBA insider linked DeMar DeRozan to the Memphis Grizzlies in a potential NBA blockbuster trade. I got a ton of thoughts on this and more, but I think the Bulls will eventually move off either DeMar or Levine this offseason. This is what Harvey Glassbrook had to say about a potential DeMar DeRozan trade to the Memphis Grizzlies. He said the Memphis Grizzlies are another squad that has more questions than answers this season. A massive cloud of uncertainty hangs over the franchise as the NBA investigates the latest gun-toting incident of star guard Ja Morant. The consensus around the league is that the Grizzlies need more of a veteran presence to rein in their talented but immature stud. Totally agree. And who better to do that than a sage veteran, DeMar DeRozan? Honestly, I think that's a great point for Harvey. And this was the trade that Harvey actually ended up throwing out as a potential blockbuster trade. I'm honestly a big fan of this. No picks involved, but it'd be Tyus Jones and Steven Adams for DeMar DeRozan. The contracts actually all match out. I put this in the NBA trade machine. And I think the Bulls would be getting themselves two really solid pieces. But in terms of the Grizzlies side of this, I think he's completely right. I think the Grizzlies have a very talented team on their hands. They just got to reel in and kind of just rein in, like he was saying, a Ja Morant. Because Ja Morant, listen, everything's going on with him. There's a ton of the off-the-court issues. But when he is on the court and he is locked in, he is legitimately a top 5 point guard in the NBA, and he can honestly find himself probably winning an MVP in one of these upcoming years. If you get him a veteran piece, just a veteran locker room presence of like DeMar DeRozan next to him, it wouldn't even be the on-the-court stuff that would kind of help out the Grizzlies with adding to DeMar DeRozan. It would be the off-the-court stuff. Just the veteran leadership that he would bring. I would be a big fan of this if I were the Grizzlies. Let's zero in here on Tyus Jones, who the Bulls would be getting back. Honestly, I think Tyus Jones, one of my favorite point guards in the NBA. He obviously comes off the bench for the Memphis Grizzlies because Ja Morant is getting most of the touches. But as a bench piece, he put up 10.3 points per game, 2.5 rebounds. He's always been a tremendous playmaker ever since his days back at Duke. 5.2 assists per game, and he's fairly efficient. 43.8% from the field, and then 37.1% from three. Honestly, I think Tyus Jones, he is the best backup point guard in the NBA. He could be starting for a lot of teams in the NBA as well. Tyus Jones, just the way he, as a floor general, I just love his game. He almost kind of reminds me of kind of a poor man's Jalen Brunson. The way Jalen Brunson, kind of that 6-foot, unathletic archetype type of build at the point guard position, but they're so crafty. They have that snake dribble coming off the pick and roll. He's able to manipulate bigs really well. And every time he gets in the lane, and if you put shooters around him like the Grizzlies have done in the past, he can kind of spray the ball out and just shoot the ball all over the place to these open shooters. I think Tyus Jones as a bench piece, and honestly, I think he could be a starting point guard for the Bulls. Obviously, the Bulls losing Lonzo Ball and the whole injury concern around him, if you could bring in a guy like Tyus Jones for giving up DeMar DeRozan, who is still a fairly young piece, I would honestly be all in on it. If you could somehow get Tyus Jones in a trade deal for DeMar DeRozan, I would absolutely love it. The way he just controls the floor, he gets in the lane. If you put shooters around him, he can dish that ball out. And obviously, the main problem with that would be the Bulls would need to get shooters around him. But in this trade, the Grizzlies are receiving DeMar DeRozan, who I think would be a great fit in Memphis. Just kind of be a mentor for Ja Morant, because DeMar is one of the better leaders I think we have in the NBA. I think he could really rein in Ja Morant and kind of help him kind of go through his off-the-court issues. And then also the Bulls would be getting Steven Adams in this trade. I have always been a big fan of Steven Adams. He's one of the best screen setters in the NBA. He's one of the best rebounders in the NBA. And honestly, dating back to his Oklahoma City Thunder days, I think Steven Adams is a great modern-day big in the NBA. Yes, he can't stretch the floor like maybe a guy like a Jaren Jackson, for example, for the Memphis Grizzlies. But again, Steven Adams, I think he is an absolute great piece at that center position. I think Steven Adams, honestly, if we're talking about just a guy who could be a great screen setter, a great role man for the Chicago Bulls, I think that's him. I'm a huge fan of what Steven Adams has done throughout the NBA during his NBA career. And if you could get Steven Adams and Tyus Jones and move off DeMar DeRozan and his contract and kind of just get a fresh start for the Chicago Bulls in this upcoming year. Like, that's the number one thing with this Bulls team, is that I kind of found them kind of hard to root for in the kind of later half of the season because, yes, they have a ton of talent on this roster. Like LaVine, a tremendous NBA talent. He's a tremendous NBA scorer. He can score from all three levels. DeRozan with his mid-range game. They're all so incredibly talented, but it kind of felt hard to root for them because they didn't really have that dog in them. They didn't really have that fight. They didn't really have that fire lit on their ass. And that's what a guy like Tyus Jones and Steven Adams will give you. Those are great just culture pieces, great guys to just build around. Like Steven Adams, like, what he has done in his NBA career is he's been sort of a journeyman a little bit, but he has been incredibly impactful anywhere he goes. I mean, anytime anybody is talking about, like, oh, who is the kind of your welcome to the NBA moment, I swear I've seen like 5 clips of like these young players and these young guards are like, oh, my welcome to the NBA moment was receiving a screen from Steven Adams because he is a grown man and he's just somebody you wouldn't want to mess with in a fight, honestly, at a bar or something. Steven Adams would probably be number 1 on that list. But over the last 4 years, I mean, he's been a double-digit rebound guy his entire career, and he's always shot a high percentage from the field. I mean, every single year from 2019 to 2020, he has been pretty much sitting around 60% from the field. He's been averaging just around 10 points a game and around 10 rebounds a game. He's a walking double-double. But this was a trade that Bleacher Report, or that an NBA insider, Harvey Glassbrook, wrote up. Tyus Jones, Steven Adams for DeMar DeRozan. Let me know down in the comment section, would you accept this trade or would you pass? Just give me an A for accept or give me a P for pass. I would do it. I would be absolutely all in on this trade. The Bulls would get 2 really good just culture pieces, and those would be 2 guys that I would just love to root for. Those would be 2 guys I would want to go to war with. I would want to play with them on my team if I was, obviously playing basketball for the Chicago Bulls, and I think they would contribute to the culture change that is needed in Chicago. You know, like I was saying, with these guys like LaVine, Vooch, and DeMar, I never really felt like they were strong leaders. I never really felt like they were guys that were going to put the team on the back and kind of be like kind of what like Jimmy and Bam have set in Miami with their intensity on the defensive side of the floor and just kind of like how they carry themselves offensively. It's very team basketball. It's kind of polar opposite of what the Bulls do. The Bulls have the talent, but it's the little things, it's the intangibles that they need to work on. And I think Tyus Jones and Steven Adams would contribute to that in a very, very positive way. And again, thank you guys so much for 1,000 subscribers here. We'll keep you guys in the loop, Bulls, news, rumors, whatever it is, all throughout the NBA offseason. Thank you guys so much again. Hit that sub button, and as always, go Bulls.